Hey everyone, and welcome to the second episode of AutoNauts. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at a 2001 BMW Z3 Coupe. Now, say what you will about the Z3, but in my opinion, it is a fantastic driver's car. The convertible gets a little bit of a bad rap, same thing as the Mazda Miata, but the truth is, both of those cars are really fun to drive. Now, the Z3 convertible was produced from 1995 to 2002. But this coupe model was produced from just 1999 to 2002. There are considerably fewer of them running around, and that might be for many number of reasons, one of which could be the styling. Personally for me, it's one of my favorite things about this car, but it is polarizing. Some people love it, some people hate it, and there really isn't an in-between. Up front, of course, you're going to have BMW's trademark kidney grille, but one of my favorite features of this car's exterior styling are the rear fenders. They are nice and wide and meaty, and they give this car a certain stance and presence that the Z3 convertible, in my opinion, just doesn't have. Like I said, these were produced in fewer numbers than the convertible, and this was kind of a special car for BMW in the sense that, you know, they were convinced by their engineers that they should build this vehicle, and they did so, and it kind of stands out as a quirky, unique car in their lineup that really speaks to their ability to branch out, try different things dynamically, and with this car it paid off. Now, taking a closer look at the car's rear, we can see that these widened fenders really give the car a lot of presence. I'm personally glad they decided to include that design feature on every Z3 Coupe. Now, normally these kind of wide fenders are reserved for special cars like M cars, AMGs, or RS, but in this case, they put them on every Z3 Coupe. And I think it just looks phenomenal. It really makes the car stand out, and it gives it a certain level of, I guess, testosterone, if you will, that the Z3 convertible is just missing. Now, in the back, we have a considerable amount of storage space for such a small car. And this car is equipped with the Harman Kardon sound system, which sounds great for its time. Okay, so now we're going to take this car for a drive. So the Z3 is an interesting departure for BMW. It was not only the first mass-market roadster produced by BMW, but it was also the first BMW produced in North America. The Z in Z3 originally stood for Zukunft, and Zukunft means future. And it appears that BMW was looking into the future, looking at their business model, and seeing what they needed to be viable into the next century. So they built this car, and it went very well for them. Actually, BMW sold the first 15,000 units of this car's initial production run before the car even hit dealerships. Now, part of that can be attributed to James Bond. What? Some of you may remember that in the 1995 movie GoldenEye, James Bond drove a Z3 Roadster. That got the car a lot of attention, and it drummed up sales, it drummed up interest, and the car sold quickly. So BMW had a lot of success with this vehicle. And while I've never driven one of those lower power models, I can say that this Z3 Coupe with the 3.0 inline 6 is just a blast to drive. It's got plenty of power, and please forgive the jerky shifting. I'm still new to manuals, more or less. The power comes on smooth, the power comes on clean, and it pulls all the way to Redline. You're not going to win any drag races in this car, and that's not the point. You will lose those drag race cars as soon as you go around the first corner because this thing handles like it's on rails. I mean, the turn-in is so precise and so eager. As soon as you go into a corner, the car's almost already ahead of you saying, what's next? What else you got? And I really like that attitude in the car. You kind of want to see where this car's ragged edge is. And it's actually got pretty high tolerances. One thing that you do notice with this vehicle is BMW's dynamic stability control. Now, that was a feature they started introducing, if I'm not mistaken, in the late 90s, early 2000s. And it will brake and also take engine power away from the equation. So what it's there for is to save your ass if you make a big mistake. But if you're not making a big mistake, you can actually be pretty intrusive when you're driving. Coming around the corner fast, in total control, the car will preemptively decide that you're about to crash and die a fiery death. So it will wrangle control of the car, it'll cut engine power, and it's actually pretty disturbing when you're in the middle of a corner and all that happens. It seems like that system itself could lead to more danger than just taking the corner fast and correctly. But really, unless you're pushing the car hard, you won't notice that. The 5-speed manual is great around town. Now it does have that typical BMW notchy 1-to-2 shift, and you kind of have to learn around that. Like I said earlier, I'm still relatively new to manuals, so for me it's still something I'm getting my head around, but it's really not that big of a deal. I'm here in another uncharacteristically sunny day in Oregon, and just enjoying this car while we have some sun left is great, because once the rain comes, this car really loses a lot of its edge, or rather, I lose the desire to push this car to its edge because the roads are wet, and that dynamic stability control system, which is actually kicking in now, that dynamic stability control system has caused me some unsettling moments in the rain. But at the same time, the car doesn't feel in any way unmanageable. It's calm around town, it's generally very planted. You know, that wide rubber in the rear really helps. And like I mentioned before, turn-in is just so sharp, the car is so eager to handle, that its own stability control system actually sabotages what this car is capable of before you can even get there. But I would rather drive home in one piece than not drive home at all, so I can't complain too much. Now, I've had the chance to drive a lot of high horsepower cars in the past, and there's something that the BMW can teach any driver, and that is that more horsepower doesn't always equal more fun. I had a Cadillac CTS-V Coupe, and that car produces 556 horsepower and 550 pound-feet of torque. But back here in the country on these hills, the weight of the car sapped a lot of the fun out of the driving experience, and this car just shows you that lighter weight and less horsepower kind of balances out the equation. You're not going to win any drag races, but you will have so much more fun driving the car on a daily basis. I actually just listed this car for sale, and within 3 days, I got 3 or 4 calls plus an email. So people are looking for this car, and I don't blame them. The Z3 3.0 Coupe is truly a magnificent car. It has style, it has character, it has fun factor, it has form factor with that hatchback in the trunk. The formula here is pretty magical. Relatively low weight, sufficient power, 5-speed manual gearbox, a backcountry road. I mean, what more can you ask for? It's pretty awesome. Alright guys, so that was my review of the 2001 BMW Z3 3.0 Coupe. I really hope you enjoyed it because I really enjoyed showing it to you. Now be sure to stay tuned and subscribe for more videos coming soon. This is Joe King for AutoNauts, and I will catch you around.